What if I told you that your laziness is not your biggest enemy, but your greatest lie? Right now, while you're waiting for motivation, someone with less talent, less intelligence, and fewer opportunities is changing their life simply because they decided to act. The Stoics understood this truth over 2,000 years ago, and today, in a world addicted to comfort and distraction, their wisdom is more powerful than ever. This is not another motivational speech. This is a practical 5-minute Stoic reset that can change the direction of your entire day and perhaps your entire life. Imagine waking up tomorrow with the same dreams you've had for years, the business you never started, the body you never built, the book you never wrote, the conversations you never had, the life you promised yourself you would eventually live. Now imagine yourself 10 years older, standing in front of those same dreams, untouched by action. That vision is terrifying. Yet this is exactly where laziness quietly leads us, not through dramatic failure, but through endless postponement. Most people think laziness is about lacking energy. The Stoics would disagree. According to Seneca, we do not have a short life. We simply waste much of it. Laziness is rarely physical exhaustion. More often, it is emotional resistance disguised as comfort. We tell ourselves we will start tomorrow because tomorrow feels safer than today. Tomorrow carries no risk of failure, but tomorrow never arrives. It only transforms into another excuse. Marcus Aurelius faced this battle every morning. Remember, he wasn't just a philosopher. He was the emperor of Rome, responsible for millions of lives, military campaigns, political conspiracies, and constant crises. Yet in his private journal, now known as Meditations, he confessed that getting out of bed was sometimes difficult. He wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being." Notice what he didn't say. He didn't wait to feel inspired. He didn't wait for perfect emotions. He reminded himself of his duty. That single idea changes everything. Modern culture tells you to follow your feelings. Stoicism tells you to follow your principles. Feelings change every hour. Principles remain. Think about the greatest achievements in history. Were they built on constant motivation? Of course not. Every inventor, artist, athlete, and leader encountered mornings when they wanted to quit. The difference was never motivation. It was discipline anchored in purpose. Now let me introduce what I call the 5-minute Stoic fix. The first minute begins with absolute awareness. Stop whatever you're doing and ask yourself one brutal question. What am I avoiding? Not what should you do. Not what do you feel like doing. What are you actively avoiding because it makes you uncomfortable? The email? The workout? The difficult phone call? The first page of your project? Laziness survives in vagueness. Clarity destroys it. Epictetus taught that people are disturbed not by things themselves, but by the judgments they make about them. In other words, the task isn't painful. Your story about the task is painful. The moment you identify the real obstacle, you weaken its power. The second minute is about shrinking the battlefield. The modern mind becomes overwhelmed because it looks at the mountain instead of the next step. Instead of saying, I need to write an entire book, tell yourself, I will write one paragraph. Instead of I must exercise for an hour, say, I will move for 5 minutes. The Stoics understood momentum long before psychology confirmed it. Action creates energy, not the other way around. This is where most people fail. They negotiate with themselves. They make elaborate plans. They organize their workspace. They watch productivity videos. They prepare endlessly without beginning. Marcus Aurelius would probably smile at our obsession with preparation while gently reminding us that the obstacle isn't planning. The obstacle is refusing to start. The third minute is acceptance. This may sound strange, but stop trying to eliminate discomfort. Welcome it. The discomfort you feel before starting meaningful work is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It is proof you're growing. Seneca believed that hardship trains the soul, just as exercise strengthens the body. Every uncomfortable action expands your ability to face future challenges. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. The steel doesn't become stronger by avoiding fire. It becomes stronger because it passes through it repeatedly. Your character is forged exactly the same way. The fourth minute is immediate action. No countdown, no perfect timing, no waiting until Monday. Touch the keyboard, put on the running shoes, open the document, make the call. The Stoics believed that action is the language of virtue. Every second you hesitate, your mind manufactures another excuse. Have you ever noticed that the hardest part of any task is usually the first 60 seconds? After that, your mind begins to adapt, resistance fades, momentum takes over. This is why the 5-minute Stoic fix works. It bypasses the emotional debate entirely. The fifth and final minute is reflection. Pause briefly and recognize what just happened. You didn't conquer the entire project. You conquered yourself. And according to the Stoics, there is no greater victory. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Every time you choose action over procrastination, you prove that your mind is stronger than your impulses. But let's go deeper. Why are we truly lazy? Because comfort has become our default environment. Our ancestors struggled to survive. We struggled to resist scrolling. Every notification, every short video, every endless feed trains the brain to seek immediate pleasure while avoiding meaningful effort. Modern technology isn't evil, but it constantly tempts us to exchange long-term fulfillment for short-term stimulation. The Stoics anticipated this psychological trap centuries before smartphones existed. They warned that pleasure without purpose leads to weakness. They encouraged voluntary discomfort, not because suffering is noble, but because comfort is addictive. Imagine two versions of yourself standing before you. One always chooses the easier path, sleeps a little longer, waits a little more, delays difficult conversations, avoids responsibility. 1 year later, nothing changes. The other version acts despite uncertainty. They don't always feel confident, they don't always feel ready, but they move anyway. 1 year later, their life is almost unrecognizable. Both versions have the same intelligence, the same opportunities, the same 24 hours. The only difference is the decision made during 5 ordinary minutes. This is why Stoicism remains timeless. It does not promise an easy life. It promises a meaningful one. Epictetus reminded us that no great thing is created suddenly. Every masterpiece, every resilient character, every extraordinary life is built one decision at a time. The person you become tomorrow depends on the choice you make today, not someday. The greatest tragedy isn't failing. It is never discovering what you are capable of because comfort quietly convinced you to remain where you are. So tomorrow morning, when your alarm rings and your mind whispers, 5 more minutes, remember Marcus Aurelius climbing out of bed to lead an empire. Remember Seneca warning that wasted time is life itself slipping away. Remember Epictetus teaching that your judgments, not your circumstances, shape your destiny. Then give yourself just 5 minutes. Not to finish everything, not to transform your life instantly. Just 5 minutes of deliberate action. Because 5 minutes become 10. 10 become an hour. Hours become habits. Habits become character. And character becomes destiny. One day, you'll look back and realize your life didn't change because you found endless motivation. It changed because you stopped waiting for motivation to arrive. The chains that held you were never made of iron, they were made of hesitation. The prison was never outside you, it existed only inside your own mind. And perhaps the most stoic truth of all is this: every sunrise offers the same quiet invitation, not to become someone else, but to become the person you were always capable of being. The question has never been whether you have enough time, enough talent, or enough strength. The only question that truly matters is whether, in the next 5 minutes, you will choose comfort or freedom.